that. And Jay.
Marsh now. Don't do it, Jay.
Oh, yeah, he did.
CJ, you can't start off like that.
Terrell Freeman picking it off in the Colts lead at 7-7. He missed on his first 8 attempts.
You knew he heard some cat.
Fourth quarter, Luck, the first of what will be many, to Donnie Avery. First career touchdown. Threw for 309. Also got picked off 3 times.
Yeah, but he will have me. Drop, in rhythm, delivered the strike.
Speaking of delivering, Drew Brees to Marcus Colston. However, he's stripped on his way to the end zone by Cedric Griffin. That's going to be a touchback. Brian, that is a big play by Cedric Griffin.
Young defensive players.
Trying to make this an 8-point game, and they do, as Jordan Nelson is in to make it 23-15.
Welcome to Dairy Boys Live. I'm your host, Danny Ferry, and alongside of me we have...
Dirty Bit.
That's right, Dirty Bit team owner, Justin Kynard. Round of applause for Justin Kynard.
Thank you.
Finally, the West York Bulldogs, the team formerly known as West York Bulldogs, has finally gotten a victory under your tutelage. How's it feel, man?
Feels wonderful.
Well, guys, we're going to jump right into it. We've had some winners this week, and we've had some losers. And we've decided that we're already going to call this next week a must-win for anybody with one loss. Well, what basis do we have to say that? We just did this research. No team from last year started the season with 2 losses and made the playoffs. So let's check it out. Who's in trouble already and who's looking pretty good? The first game was myself, Eagles Danny, versus... hold on one second. I'm on the wrong thing.
I believe it was How About Them Cowboys.
How about them Cowboys?
How About Them Cowboys.
How about them Cowboys did not fare very well this week. A crushing blow with Fred Jackson going down in the first quarter of the game against the Bills enabled me to take a slim 11-point victory against co-commissioner Mark Reaver. In other action, we had Team Titan against Bleed Green. And Bleed Green got a narrow victory, 6-point victory, over the artist formerly known as Gooch. In other scores, we had the Steel Curtain, defending champion, Tom Lemon. He came out with what I would call an upset victory over Team Piranha with a score of 160 to 141. And Tom continues the hot winning streak. He has won 5 straight games going back to last year. Last year's runner-up, Running Mad, he started off hot again this year, beating Semper Fi 184 to 161. And the top storyline again, Dirty Bit, victorious. Finally, one of the things I know, Justin, that we were trying to do this off season, Mark and I, was that team was so terrible. How are we gonna make the league any fun next year if we don't have 10 teams that are competitive? Last year, everybody knew it was a victory, unless your team plane crashed or something. They were gonna get a win, and man, I came to you. I asked you about it. You were a little skeptical. This is his first league ever, and remember after the draft, we were sitting there and we were looking at your team, and you were kind of like, I don't know. And you drafted well. You drafted very well. So let me know, man. How's it feel to have your first victory?
It feels great. I mean, you know, it's one of those things when you're doing it for the first time. You don't know the people that you're going to pick. You know how they're going to play. You know, compared to how they played last year, and then just knowing that the team was in such a bad position last year.
Sure.
You know, it was only one way to go up, basically in my mind. So. After the draft, I was kind of concerned because I didn't know, what players, were going to do and how they were going to compare to everybody else. But, I can't ask for anything better.
And that's true. The only guy who had a 100% coaching rating, which doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot other than you played your team to their maximum, was Dirty Bit, and was Justin, who maxed out his team at 188.63. It goes to show you how important it is trying to figure out who to play and who not to play, because as you look right here, the team you defeated, Killer Pitts, could have had 211 if he would have played optimum players, and So congratulations, man. Good job.
Thanks.
I'm excited for you. I'm excited to see that this year that division will have 5 competitive teams, and there won't be a guaranteed victory in any week in any division this year, so be careful. So going back to what we were talking about earlier, we want to always look back in the past a little bit and kind of get a feel for, you know, some of the stats from last year and some of the things that that we can look back on and say, well, this has to happen or this can't happen. And one of the things that I really wanted to research this week was, can you start off with 2 straight losses and make the playoffs? And as I look back at last year, nobody who made the playoffs had 2 straight losses. The only person who started off the season even with a sub 500 record was actually league champion, the Steel Curtain, who started off the season at 1-2 before only suffering 3 losses the rest of the season. So it goes to show you that winning early does matter. So to the teams that lost this week, which if I can go back here, the teams that lost, how about them? Cowboys, Team Titan, Semper Fi, Team Piranha, and Killer Pitts. It's go time this week. Statistics show you may not make the playoffs. We're going to continue on with Market Watch. There have, we want to take a couple minutes here to go over some of the waivers that went down today. We also want to take some time to look at some of the players that team owners wish they had played and some of the players that team owners wish they had set. So I'm going to go through this dirty bit. I'm going to ask you about a team, kind of talk about it a little bit, and just get your input about what you think. Players that, how about them Cowboys wish they had played? Michael Bush. He had Fred Jackson, got him a 1.5. Michael Bush was on his bench, scoring 16.5 points for him. If he would have played Michael Bush, he would have had a victory. What's your thoughts on making a tough decision like that? And, you know, that stinks. Michael Bush is a backup.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, you know, when you're going into game time and you really don't know, especially with a week 1, you know, who you want to pick to play and what type of points they're going to produce for you, you know, because they're just coming off their off season, so they really haven't gotten back into the groove. So, you know, I believe it was a real tough decision. You know, it looks like here he has a couple injuries too, so he really didn't have too much of a choice as far as Michael Bush is concerned and who he wanted to go with. So, you know, I think you know, before the game started, he believed that he made the right decision, maybe the only decision that he could have, and, you know, it just didn't work out for him this week.
Yeah, I know that Mark was real high on Fred Jackson, and it's really tough to figure out in Chicago who's going to get the carries there, if it's going to be Forte, who got his share and had a great game, but didn't necessarily put the ball in the end zone. So, but I'm sure, and I know I talked to Mark today, he wished he would have played Michael Bush. Team Titan, if he would have played either Anquan Bolden or Stevie Johnson, you're taking a look at it right now, he would have been victorious. He only had a 6-point defeat, and last week Wes Welker only scored him 4.4 points. So that was the margin of defeat. You know, Wes Welker's been a productive fantasy wide receiver for the last 4 years, except for the year he got injured. I mean, can you sit Wes Welker in the first week of the season?
I don't think you can. I mean, for what he did last year and the points that he put up, you know, I think that it was the right move to put him in, or, you know, having to put him in for the first week and play him. You know, it's just, once again, this week it just didn't.
It's bad luck.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has, you know, off days, and unfortunately, you know, in this league, you just don't know when those days are going to come.
Team Piranha, who seemingly I thought really transformed his team into a powerhouse contender in the offseason with acquiring Tom Brady and just having what I thought was one of the better drafts. Really, 2 players on his team that scored extremely high, and if you look down there, one was Lance Moore, who scored almost, I think it was 24 points, and C.J. Spiller tore it up when Fred Jackson went out. He almost had 200 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. You know, is there anybody? I mean, I think you played Chris Johnson. I guess my question is Chris Johnson done? Because last year he had a terrible year, and they said, it's because he held out. Chris Johnson had another bad game, and I really think that cost Team Piranha a victory there. Yeah,
I think it did. I mean, I think he's on a tightrope at this point. He maybe another week yet, see how he plays out, and if he doesn't produce like he should, I think it might be time to be looking for him to go elsewhere.
Yeah, I agree. We also have Semper Fi. Denver's defense scored 20 points against Pittsburgh's offense, and so my father-in-law's looking at me right now, and he won't stop looking at me. Semper Fi had Denver's defense, who scored 20 points, and I think that could have put him a little bit closer in his matchup against what the heck? I just messed this whole thing up.
Hold on a second. We have some technical difficulties here. Get back on track. Running mad.
The 20 points Denver's defense scored would have put him within 3 points. I'm not necessarily sure Semper Fi could have won that game, but there's a good chance it could have been a lot closer if he would have played Denver's defense. And then finally, I'll just let you comment on this. Killer Pitts could have played Pierre Garçon and Blaine Gabbert, and if he would have just played those two guys, we wouldn't be sitting here with the top story of the week being Dirty Bit wins. Were you surprised when you saw who he was playing and who he wasn't playing, or did you kind of say I would play those exact same guys?
No, I probably would have played the same guys. It was a tight race down to Monday Night Football. We didn't know, going into it how it would turn out, and luckily, my defense held strong with the Ravens, and it came down to the wire. So, I think he did a good job at his picks. It just, once again, depends on the players and how they play that each week, and go from there.
We want to take a couple of seconds here and just talk about some players that you wish that you had sat. That's right. People that need to stay on the bench, or that you should have put on the bench. Now, we're not saying we would have done this. Look at me, I played Marcus Colston, who only scored me 9 points. But these are some players that I think cost some of these teams victories. Killer Pitts, Antonio Gates. If you click on the box there, it'll show. He only scored, I think, 8 points against you. 8.3. If you go down and you look at his backup tight end, I believe, scored more points than that, which was Kobe Fleener, the rookie.
Scored 14 points.
He scored 14 points. I think Gates may have seen the end of the line. He's injured again. I don't know if he's going to play this week. It says he's out with some rib injuries or something. Do you think Antonio Gates is done?
It's hard to say at this point. We'll wait to hear, what his full extent of the injury is and what they're looking at as far as the recovery time. But, I'd say at least for now, it might be a good decision to sit him and bench him at least for a week or two. See how things play out, and throw Kobe in there and see how he does. Apparently, this past week he didn't do too bad, and he has a game coming up here at Chicago, and I believe
that's the game.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong screen here.
I think they play against Minnesota this week.
You are correct. Yes, the game that he has against them, he has a potential again to put up some decent points.
Yeah, that's it's kind of sad for Antonio Gates, because there was a time when you would watch a football game that he was playing in just to see him. But I can't say that he's been healthy the last couple of years, so it's kind of sad to see him go out like this. Team Piranha, he played Hakeem Nicks, and Hakeem completely laid an egg. Well, how many points did he score?
7.8.
7.8, and I believe he was projected to score over 20. I'm sure he wishes he would have sat him for Lance Moore, who scored 24 points. Just players that you wish you would sit. We talked about Wes Welker, Team Titan. Man, that's tough luck, buddy. Wes Welker normally produces, and I think some of it, and we'll just talk about this real quick, could be the contract situation he has going on in New England. There's even talks that he's no longer the first or second option, but that he could potentially be the fourth option in New England now, behind both tight ends and Brandon Lloyd. That doesn't say much because Brady looks for everybody. He's a great quarterback, but those other guys get open. So if he's the fourth read in some of the some of the offense there, he may not get the ball as much. And then finally, how about them Cowboys? Not so fast, Freddie Jackson going down with another injury. Just came back from injury from last year, got a contract, going back on the IR as far as on Mark's team, and then I think they said he's going to be out for like 4 weeks.
At least 4 weeks, yeah.
At least 4 weeks. So, those are just players that we wish we would have played and players we wish we would have sat. Our next topic we're going to talk about are players that were claimed today. Today was the first day of the waiver wire. And we'll just start with you, Dirty Bit. Talk about your pickup.
Well, I picked up Mark Sanchez from the Jets and dropped Mr. Orton for the Dallas Cowboys. He's just, with Romo playing the way that he is in this first week, I'm sure that they're not going to be throwing Orton in there anytime soon. So Sanchez put up a decent game on Sunday, and, I just believe that he's a decent guy to have. He's
definitely an upgrade over Orton.
Oh, absolutely. Right. Even just to have him, bench for right now until I need him. Roethlisberger didn't do terrible, but he didn't do the greatest either, on Sunday night. And also Fitzpatrick didn't do as well, too. So I need somebody else in there that's going to be able to step up and put some points on the board.
Yeah, I agree with you. Fitzpatrick seemed to clean up in garbage time, so that really helped you out. Bleed Green picked up Stephen Ridley, who had a really good game, 25 carries, almost 130 yards, I believe, and a touchdown. I read in the offseason that New England wanted to run the ball more, and it seems like they stuck with the game plan, giving him the rock 25 times. Bleed Green cut Evan Royster, part of the Mike Shanahan three-headed monster. He didn't even get a carry, I don't think, last game. So I think that's a good pickup for Bleed Green. Then we get to Team Piranha, and the guy he picked up was considered to be the hottest waiver wire pickup this week, which was Kevin Ogletree. You're a Cowboys fan. Tell me how important it is for Tony Romo to have Ogletree out there on the field.
I think it's really important, especially from last season and the sheer number of drops and misreads that they had, and they just weren't connecting at all. And it feels like watching them on Wednesday night, they able to eye each other up, know where everybody was going to be, connect really well. And I think he was a really good pickup here for Team Piranha.
Team Piranha also picked up the Jets defense, who again we talked about had a great first half. Fitzpatrick and the Bills picked up some garbage time points. I would have to say that the Jets defense was a solid pickup. Bleed Green later on in the day, just in free agency, then after the waiver wire was finished, he picked up Alshon Jeffrey. He caught Michael Floyd. Again, I agree. Good pickup there for Bleed Green. Alshon Jeffrey will probably be a really impact player. Maybe not this year with Marshall there, but down the road. And Michael Floyd has not impressed me, and you kind of feel bad for him because, look who he has throwing him the ball.
Right. Yeah,
I think I could throw him the ball. Team Titan, he added Jonathan Dwyer from Pittsburgh, and then he cut D'Angelo Williams. The Steel Curtain, like we said, Arizona has a mess at quarterback. He placed John Skelton on the injured reserve. How about them Cowboys? He cut Scott Chandler and added Dennis Pitta. Both players had good first weeks. They both caught touchdown passes. I'm not sure that this does anything more than, I think that Mark's looking for somebody who's going to produce consistently, and Buffalo's offense doesn't look that great right now. So I think he thinks Baltimore's offense looks better. And then Dirty Bit, you talk about your last pickup. Here, you just picked him up off free agency right before you came over.
Right. Sean Drag from Kansas City dropped James Starks. Obviously, he's injured, and I believe he's third in line for Green Bay, so can't see him taking the ball too many times. I also need a backup there for running back, and he was one of the top ones that were left, and figure I'll pick him up. Maybe he'll start producing a couple more numbers here as the season goes on, and at least have him ready to go in case I need him for any emergency reason.
I have to say, I think it's at least worth a pickup on this guy. I know how many times in the past years, even last year, Laurent Robinson wasn't even on the radar, and all of a sudden he was productive and ended up being one of the top waiver wire pickups. You never know with these guys. So, man, great pick. I wish you all the best. We also have to talk, let's take a couple seconds here. We're going to talk about, we thought we had a trade going down in the Dairy Boys League, but it seems as if in the last few minutes before the ink dried on the contracts, before our owners met to finalize everything, it fell through. And the trade that was up for review was between Team Piranha, and you got it pulled up already, it was between Team Piranha and How About Them Cowboys. How About Them Cowboys was looking to pick up another running back and was looking at CJ Spiller. Team Piranha would have gotten Rob Gronkowski back in exchange for CJ Spiller, and then would have dropped Dustin Keller. What's your thoughts on a potential trade that, it hasn't happened? Word on the street is that there's still conversation going on about a potential deal between these two teams, but this one has fallen through. So what's your thoughts on this trade?
Yeah, I think it was a decent thing to come up with, you know, and at least give the offer out. I'm not quite sure I would have taken the trade either. You know, it's still kind of early, so you don't want to just be dropping players off, you know, right away just because they didn't perform well or, you know, maybe what you expected. So I think it was a decent decision maybe to hold off for a little bit. I mean, the offer, I'm sure, might still be down the road, so, you know, if something comes up, they may want to go at it again and try for it, but I think they made the right decision for right now.
I agree, and I think one of the big things in fantasy football in general is week one panic. Teams lose, players don't play up to what they thought they should, and all of a sudden it's Publishers Clearinghouse, man. They're just sending everybody out. You know, I think there's people that are veteran fantasy owners who know that, you know, as important as week one is, it doesn't tell the whole story. So although this week we feel is a must-win for several teams in order for them to become contenders down the road, I think that the guys that will climb back in and be in playoff contention at the end of the year will be smart and not go all out free-for-all and sell everybody. So that's just my thoughts on that. I've been around fantasy football for a few years now, and I noticed that guys who are constantly making week one trades and they're blowing up their team early, it just ends up being a disaster. They never get any consistency. So we're done with that. Market Watch is over, and we are heading into week two predictions.
Dirty bit.
That's right, dirty bit style. And we're going to do some picks, and then I'm going to ask this guy, dirty bit fantasy football owner Justin Kynard, who he thinks the top fantasy player is going to be in each of the matchups. Are you ready?
We'll see.
All right.
All right.
We're going to start off with what I tried to start off with earlier. It's Team Titan and Eagles Danny. Projected points, according to Flea Flicker, have Team Titan at 177.9. Eagles Danny at 190.66. What's your thoughts on this game, Dirty Bit?
You know, I think that's going to be, once again, another close game. It's going to come down to the wire. You know, they both have a decent amount of star players that are going to be able to put some decent points up. You know, it's just up to those players and how they want to perform this week. You know, I think it could go either way. I know Eagles Danny has a decent, solid team, and coming off of a week one victory, you know, he's going to be pushing strong. You know, Team Titan 0-1. Going to have to really come back and fight hard to be able to stay in this race. So.
I was looking back at the history from last year, and Team Titan was formerly known as Smack You With My Gooch. Thank you, Jason Haley, for changing your name. But this is the team. This was my Achilles heel last year. He beat me twice last year. I had an overall better record than Gooch, if I'm correct. Let me take a look. He was 6-8 last year, and I was 8-6, and he beat me twice, kept me out of the playoffs. You know, I got a little, you know, something there. Like I want to take this guy down.
A little bit of rivalry here.
It's a little rivalry, you know. I mean, he's been a division rival. We kept the divisions the same this year because we want to build these rivalries like this. I'm coming for you, and I want to take you down. So get ready, Gooch. I'm coming for you this week.
I guess I don't have to ask how you feel.
I feel good. Question for you, though, about this matchup. Who do you see being the top fantasy player out of this whole matchup?
Between
Eagles Danny
and Team Titan. Now let me pull them up here and take a look.
You can pick one from each team.
All right.
Who do you think's the important person that's going to have to produce from each team? I think that's a better question than top superstar.
Yeah. It's tough looking over everybody. I'm going to have to go with Matt Ryan. He's going to have to put up some decent points. He did last week, and between all the quarterbacks in the matchup here, he performed the most and the best out of all of them. So
that's true.
He's going to have to do it again. Looking over here at Team Titan, he has Phillip Rivers and Joe Flacco. I believe they both can put up some pretty decent points, but I'm not sure they're going to be the ones maybe to go with. We're going to have to look at some running game, and they're going to have to start producing too and putting up some numbers. So it's hard to say. I mean, there's a lot of decent players there.
His wide receivers are good.
Right. It's just a matter of how they performed this first week, and maybe Wes Welker will turn it around and put up some numbers. Andre Johnson, though, I'm looking at. I'm thinking he might put up some decent numbers.
I think he's tearing it up this week.
I think he is.
All right, Gooch. We're not going to be doing it. We have to go to another game because I can't take it anymore. If you beat me, I'll lose it. Okay, moving on. Semper Fi. Oh, I like how yours is organized differently.
You like that?
Yeah. Semper Fi against How About Them Cowboys. I was talking to Mark all day today. I was letting him know how important winning today or winning this next game was for him. And listen, this is a battle of 0-1 teams.
Yes.
This could be the difference between being crowned champion at the end of the year and wearing the plunger hat during the draft next year. That's right. Hopefully we'll get some of that footage for next week, the plunger hat, but it is made, and we will be presenting it at the end of the year to the team with the worst record. So hopefully we can get this on set for next week, but this game's important. Both of you, Derek and Mark. Let's take a look at it. Projected points, Semper Fi 190. How About Them Cowboys 164.43. Just taking a look down through at both teams. Who do you see as the most important guy on each team?
Well, for How About Them Cowboys, I'm liking Aaron Rodgers. I've always been a fan of his and how he plays the game, and he didn't do too bad last week, and I think he can do pretty good this week. Shows him putting up about 40 points against week 2 here, so I'm looking at him. Obviously Drew Brees and Alex Smith are decent quarterbacks too, but I'm looking at the defense here. He has Seattle as of right now starting, and if the Broncos played like they did, I'm looking at them to put up some serious points too, to help them out. May not be the top,
right,
that we're looking at, but definitely a potential there to help get some more points against How About Them Cowboys, maybe to
yeah, I can definitely see what you're saying there, because it looks like Seattle's playing against Dallas, and Denver's playing against Atlanta. Atlanta was hot last week, so but I think Denver's defense is great. I think they can pressure the quarterback very well, so if they don't score points off turnovers, they may get you enough sacks and stuff like that. Listen, it's go time, guys. You got to win that game. Either one of you. Pull out all the stops. You can see why How About Them Cowboys might be looking to make a trade. Might be looking to upgrade the running back position.
Right.
He's got Michael Bush as his second running back right now. It's a tough spot to be in, 0-1 in week 2. Let's go to your matchup, Dirty Bit.
All right.
Dirty Bit against Running Mad. And Running Mad, I have to say, there's a lot of hype going into his season. And man, did they play good the first week.
They did.
His whole team played great. Take a look at it, Dirty Bit. Let me know what you think about his team. Give me some feeling.
Honestly, I'm scared. I am scared. He was the second highest point scorer last week, and right away going into week 2, I'm going to have to play him. So it's going to be another close one, and come down to maybe just that one player. I mean, it could be so much as the kicker. That could make or break the game.
And right now, you got the edge in projected points, 7-6 for the kicker. So you never know. Well, I'll take this one for the most important people, because I wouldn't want you to be biased.
Right, absolutely.
But just taking a quick look at all of this, I see he's got Ben Jarvis, Green, Ellis. I'm gonna say, that whoever has the most points between Ben Jarvis, Green, Ellis, and Ahmad Bradshaw wins this matchup. I think that's the most important position. If Ben Jarvis, Green, Ellis can run against Cleveland, which last week the Eagles, McCoy ran all up on them. That's more of a favorable matchup than I think Bradshaw has with going against Tampa Bay, who held, Cam Newton down to 10, and the Panthers down to 10 points. But whoever has the most points in that, I think wins this matchup. So that's just kind of my take on that. But that will be one that I'm watching as I watch my team. And we have a little Rudders rivalry here. Killer Pitts against the Steel Curtain. Killer Pitts has got to want to vomit right now. There's nothing worse than knowing you could have played other players and losing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But this week he has a chance to make up for it going against last year's champion, Steel Curtain. Let's take a look at this real quick, dirty bit. What players stand out to you as being the most important for victory this week?
Well, obviously Matt Stafford. He's an intelligent quarterback. I believe he's going to put up some big numbers.
He's playing against San Francisco this week too.
Right. I mean, I'm still sticking with him.
You're sticking with Matt Stafford.
I am. I think he's going to do good, even though it might be a close game. I think it might be a shootout. So, I believe he'll be able to put up some decent touchdowns and, get some points on the board.
Yeah, I'm saying, let me look at this. I'm saying RG3.
You think so?
Yep.
Okay.
He's playing against St. Louis. Jeff Fisher fan here. He's a veteran coach, veteran defensive coach. I'm saying if Robert Griffin has a good game, Killer Pitts takes this one.
All right.
I don't agree with the projected points for Larry Fitzgerald at 20.8.
No, I don't either.
Cobb is his quarterback, and after that, I don't even know who the backup is to the backup, so yeah, I think Larry Fitzgerald is a little high, and I think until Josh Freeman proves that he is a NFL quarterback that can, throw the ball consistently well, Vincent Jackson could be an up and down pick, but I still think Killer Pitts probably does have the advantage there in that one. And now we go to the final game this week. Bleed Green and Team Piranha. Division game, and projected Bleed Green at 200 points and Team Piranha 188. Again, I can see why Team Piranha was looking to pick up Gronk, because Fred Davis is only, projected to give 7.1 points. Nix didn't produce for him in week 1, so you don't know what you're getting out of him there. What's your thoughts?
I'm liking Ray Rice.
Rice.
After watching him play on Monday night, he has very good potential. That may be the overall team to beat in the NFL.
I agree with you.
But I believe that Ray Rice ran a solid game on Monday, and he's going to put up some serious points. It's against Philly, so
yeah, they played good against a run finally against Cleveland, right. But Ray Rice is not. Trent Richardson's not there yet, guys.
Exactly.
He's not Ray Rice, so yeah, man. I'm gonna say Michael Vick's the key for Bleed Green, because he plays like he did last week. You cannot suffer negative points at the quarterback position. That's one of the reasons why we adjusted that stat this week. Last year it was -1 point. This year it's -3 points. Vick was a -12 for Bleed Green last week. Somehow he still pulled out a victory by 6 points. So Vick's got to play good. He's got to score some touchdowns, and he's got to cut out the turnovers if they hope to be victorious this week, or Bleed Green does.
Stephen Ridley too. He got that pickup, just this week, so that's going to be another key player to watch. Putting him in the lineup here and seeing how he produces. If he did like last week, he'll put up some serious numbers as well.
That is true. Just a quick look at the standings before we get out of here, guys. Right now, with last week's victory, Steel Curtain is in first place in the Bill Walsh division. Dirty Bit,
Dirty Bit.
your first place in the Mike Ditka division. Running Mad's in second, you know. So it looks like right now we're only a weekend, but we definitely have some interesting storylines going on. We got some potential trades going on. We got some rivalries this week. You know, Gooch, you see this? I'm taking you down. If I lose, I'm going to be mad. I'm just going to probably throw this microphone through something. So, I want this victory this week. Any final thoughts? Dirty Bit.
Another tough week. I mean, for those who got the week 1 victory, you know, just got to keep strong and keep fighting with it. You know, I know for the Mike Ditka division, there's only 2 guys that have 1 win right now. One of them's me, one of them's Running Mad, and we're playing this week. So, you know, after Sunday, you know, Monday night, you know, we're gonna know who the top player, you know, or team is in the Mike Ditka division, and it's gonna be tough.
The interesting thing is at the end of the week, you know, how many teams are going to be sitting at 2-0?
Right.
You know, if we just take a quick look, let me just take a quick look at last year. This goes to show you. This goes to show you something. There was 1, 2, 3, 4 teams started off with 2 wins. And of them 4 teams, only 2 of them made the playoffs.
Really?
So it doesn't matter how many you start off winning, but what matters is not losing the first 2.
Right.
We'll leave you with that thought. Take care, everyone. This is Dairy Boys Fantasy Football League Live.
Dirty Bit.
We'll see you next week. Peace out.
For those of you that want to know what we're all about, it's like this, yo. This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name. He doesn't need his name up in lights, he just wants to be heard. Whether it's the beat of the mic, he feels so unlike everybody else alone. In spite of the fact that some people still think that they know him, but no, he knows the code. It's not about the salary, it's all about reality and making some noise, making a story, making sure his click stays up. That means when he puts it down, Toxic picking it up. Let's go.
Who the hell is he anyway? He never really talks much, never concerned with status, but still leaving him starstruck. Humble through opportunities given despite the fact that many misjudge him cause he makes a living from writing raps. Put it together himself, got a picture connects, never asking for someone's help or to get some respect. He's only focused on what he wrote, his will is beyond reach, and now it all unfolds.